Hello. So I'm here to do my wrap-up video for the Read-O-Rama Readathon. It wasn't as successful as I wanted to be, but I still think I did a pretty decent job for my first reading marathon. I worked a lot, so I didn't really have a lot of time to maybe shoot the video, but get into it now. So the first book that I read was Black Cross. That was for the one-word title. It was a pretty solid graphic novel. I believe I rated it as a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It's nice because it's kind of like a horror graphic novel. It goes into like they don't have superpowers per se. They get haunted by ghosts that give them superpowers from a different universe. It's really kind of weird, but it's pretty cool. It's from Dynamite Comics, which I've never read anything that wasn't DC or Marvel, so it's pretty interesting to kind of get into something different. And I know it's supposed to be a series, so I think I'll probably look into it and see how it goes. 'Cause I think most series, it's hard to get anything higher than, for me it would be hard to give anything higher than like 4 stars because you don't have an ending. You don't have anything. You know, you just have a set. So, but it was a pretty solid book. The next book that I did complete reading was the first volume of Full Metal Alchemist. This satisfied the minority character. It's a manga, so everyone in it is Asian from Japan, or you know, that kind of race for the most part. So it's a pretty solid graphic novel. For manga, for me, once again, like most graphic novels, it's hard to rate it higher than like a 3 out of 5. This one for me, it was very episodic, but it was just, I mean, that's kind of how it's going to be because it's a gathering of volumes. It wasn't going to rate super high, but it was pretty solid for what it was. The next book that I did complete, and the last one I completed for the marathon, was I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. This book for me was really, really good. I rated it 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. It was not what I expected. I even though I've seen the movie and everything, but it was so different from that because of the time frame when it took place. This book takes place in like the 70s, and it's in LA, where I think the movie took place in New York. So it's just a completely different setup. For me, the only book I can really compare it to in stuff that I've read was The Road, in the way that it made me feel as I read it. I think I rated The Road higher because I just think it's written better, but this is still a really excellent book, and I think everybody should check it out if they get the opportunity to. So yeah, and then the next book, I got about 50% of the way through. I finished it about 2 days later. I couldn't stop. That would be ridiculous. Was Fluke by Christopher Moore. This one, it would have satisfied the musical aspect. This book is an awesome book. It's slow starting off. I think for me, from Christopher Moore, and I've read a lot of his books, it's not his best, but it's not his worst either. It's very different because it has a lot of science in the beginning, which is not something he really delves into all the time. But it's a pretty solid read if you're into humor fiction. He uses really graphic language, so it's not like anything for kids. But I think it's a pretty interesting read. It's hard to really go into it without giving away because there's a really big twist in it that changes. It's not what you expect at all from the book going in. So pretty solid book. The 2 books I didn't get to read, however I will read them eventually, were The Maltese Falcon by Dashiell Hammett. One day I will read this book. I've tried reading it before and I just didn't get through it, but that was when I didn't read a lot. So another day, maybe the next marathon, this one will get done. And The Folk of the Fringe by Orson Scott Card. I didn't get the chance to really get into it. My family and I, we took a vacation that I really wasn't expecting to do whenever I decided I was going to read 6 books. So, unfortunately, I didn't complete the challenge, but it was a lot of fun getting to read different stuff, getting into books that maybe I didn't expect to read soon. So that pretty much does it for the wrap up for the Read-O-Rama. I am going to give what the next book that I'm reading is. I'm actually currently reading it. I've been reading it since we got back. It is The Caliban's War by James S.A. Corey. It's the second book in the Expanse novel series, which is a show on sci-fi that I've never seen, but I would like to see it eventually. The first book was awesome. It's called Leviathan Wakes. So I'm really excited to get into it. I'm about almost halfway, and as soon as I finish that, I will see you guys again. Bye.